What do you and Elon Musk share in common? It may surprise you, but you and the Tesla Motors CEO actually may share the same advertising budget.
The United States is the largest advertising market in the world, with ad spending amounting to over $296 billion in 2021.
Today, digital experts estimate that the average American is exposed to between 4,000 and 10,000 ads in a single day.
The mere exposure effect describes our tendency to develop preferences for things simply because we are familiar with them. In many cases, we don't even need to be aware of the exposure in order for it to have an effect on our subconscious preferences towards them. In fact, the majority of the time, the mere exposure effect happens subliminally on a subconscious level, and researchers have found that this is in fact more effective. And it's important to understand this in order to draw customers to your brand. Number one, it reduces uncertainty. We are less certain about something when we are familiar with something, since evolutionarily speaking, uncertainty can result in danger, and danger can result in death. As we see something repeatedly without noticing bad consequences, we are led to believe it is safe. Number two, it makes understanding and interpreting easier. We are better able to understand things and interpret them better in perpetual fluency. Our mind generally looks to the path of least resistance, and so we prefer stimuli to which we have already been exposed. We naturally gravitate towards things that are easier to process.
And one of the most powerful uses of the mere exposure effect is in advertising.
Consumers are bombarded by advertisements and brand placements, and although the consumer may not have even learned anything new or substantive about the brands, the mere exposure effect results in the consumer growing to trust the brand over time.
Back in the 1930s, movie industry marketers discovered what they identified as the marketing rule of 7.
That a potential customer must see a message at least 7 times before they were provoked to take any action. But in the digital age, with social media and access to a variety of platforms and information sources at our fingertips, how many exposures are needed to influence buyers when they are constantly bombarded by ads, products, and brands? While there isn't concrete data available on this, researchers do estimate that up to 26 exposures are now needed to effectively communicate a brand's message to consumers.
But how is a small business supposed to stand out in a sea of advertisements, each vying for the consumer's attention, trust, and sale, and most with an advertising budget larger than yours?
It's a fact that storytellers make emotional connections, and you can't create the same level of emotional connection with an interrupting advertisement. Rather, instead, developing your voice as a brand, keeping a consistent brand message, as well as making sure that that message authentically speaks to your consumers is worth its weight in gold.
But what about for those of you that do not have an advertising budget or do not want to have an advertising budget? Do you have to pay in order to get your ads, your brands, and your message in front of your consumers?
In today's day and age, it is easier than ever to market your business with zero paid advertising. Yes, careful paid advertising can be well worth the investment, but what about those who have no marketing budget? Let's look to a well-known example that spends $0 in advertising. This company has become the most valuable car company in the United States and one of the most sought-after brands. And the most surprising thing here is that the company has a $0 budget for advertising. And that brand is Tesla Motors. You may not be seeking to become the next Elon Musk or even anything similar, but how can we apply the principles of repeat exposure and integrate them with their principle of zero advertising budget? Get in front of your viewers frequently. Develop and share a consistent brand that can be felt across the board. Don't simply repeat the same sales pitch. Use storytelling, unique perspectives, and your brand's core stories to pique interest and emotion from your consumers. Show up personally and allow consumers to understand the personal side of your brand. Become the go-to source for a specific idea, niche, or specialty. How can you take your product or service and target a very specific audience so that audience sees you as an authority in the niche? Lastly, how can you build a strong community of followers who are satisfied customers who not only want to buy from you, but who want to advertise for you, sending other customers like them as referrals to you again and again? With taking these principles in mind, you must then get your brand in front of consumers. Choose the best social media platforms that you are able to maintain consistently. Do not try to be everywhere at once, but more so, choose several platforms that you can show up on consistently to get your brand story out there, to create a niche for yourself, and make sure that you are getting in front of your consumers with authentic exposures to help them recognize your brand.